And a very good morning to you. It is 7 a.m. on Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Another sunny day today, mostly at least, highs of about 91. We head to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the first check of the Garden State forecast. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning to you, Ken. Yeah, we've got a very pretty day outside, a little more humid than yesterday. You see the dew on the grass. Yeah, there is certainly that moisture in the air, and that will lead to a hotter feeling day by later on this afternoon. Speaking of, there was a little bit of that haze and kind of smog in northeastern New Jersey yesterday. Well, the air quality watch again is extended around New Jersey. Again, this is issued by state. So you're not going to see it across the entire state of New Jersey. The poor air quality today, at least, will be up toward Newark and Hackensack, just like it was yesterday in the northeastern corner, but a slight improvement as yesterday's numbers were in the 90s. Today they're in the 80s. Again, any number less than 100 is considered okay. The closer you get to zero is obviously the best. Our temperatures this morning start off at 70 in Newark, 59 in Morristown, and 61 down the shore. So feeling a little bit cooler, even though the temperature change is pretty much where it was yesterday. And as far as the humidity, yeah, it's starting to rise, especially down over toward Mount Holly and Medford. You just see it updating there to 66 degrees. So it's a little bit more humid than this time yesterday. It's a beautifully clear start to the day. Nothing more than some high thin clouds this morning. And we stay nice and dry through this afternoon with that lovely sea breeze setting up again down the shore later on today. Now, by tomorrow, there's a little bit more of a southerly wind coming in, and that will help enhance those storms that move in by tomorrow afternoon, roughly around 1 or 2 o'clock. You can see it on the Futurecast, with the rest of today looking beautiful. High temperatures climb into the upper 80s and low 90s. It'll feel warm and humid, and then throughout the overnight, we're dry. But tomorrow morning, a little more cloud cover, and then as these showers and storms develop, they're very widespread, and they take over throughout the afternoon, moving on by between around 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. later tomorrow evening. So it's definitely a wet afternoon for your Wednesday. Thursday could even have another round of storms later on in the afternoon as temperatures reach the low 90s yet again. So that front doesn't quite move through until later on Thursday. Beyond that, we clear out nicely. Friday is looking very pleasant and dry as those last of the clouds depart for Friday morning. We start off cool in the 50s Friday morning up north and stay nice and dry and sunny throughout the afternoon with a much more comfortable feel setting up as that northwest wind takes over to start off the weekend. So the next few days, feeling hot, feeling humid, temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s right throughout Thursday. But Friday is a much more comfortable feel in time for the weekend. We'll tell you all about that, Ken, coming up with another check of your forecast in a few minutes.
All right, Mike, sounds good. Thank you, sir. And we do have a little bit of traffic to talk about right now. We have a fluid spill on I-8. I hate when you have a fluid spill. That happens whenever I have bronchitis. A fluid spill on I-80 eastbound by Alamucci Rest Area. That's in Alamucci Township. All lanes are closed. So that's an absolute mess. That's I-80 eastbound. We also have an overturned truck, I-80 eastbound by exit 58 Madison Avenue in Patterson. The right lane is closed. That's causing a mess through that area because that area is usually bumper to bumper at this hour. There's a water main break on the North Service Road southbound in the vicinity of Cargo Road. This was exactly what happened yesterday. So this is for the last 24 hours. This has been the case. This is up by the New York, New Jersey border near Rockland County or in Rockland County. And we have an overturned vehicle, 295 northbound, north of exit 45 Mount Holly Road and Ranacas Road in West Hampton Township. The right lane of the three lanes and the right shoulder are closed. Pam, you have this I-80 at exit 15, you said? Correct? And what exit 18, excuse me. Let's take a look at, yeah, there's New Jersey 19, forgive me. So this is I-80 at New Jersey 19. Methinks that slowdown there is, you see how the sun is reflecting off the back of that sign? That tells me the sun is right in their eyes. And I know that when I'm driving, I'm sure you probably have experienced this too, that when that sun is in your eyes, you tend to slow down, and then that causes a ripple effect all the way back. So methinks that's what that probably is, but we'll see what happens in the next report. The Hudson River crossings right now, we're told the Holland and the Lincoln tunnels are moving at about 10 minutes. GWB, if we can, we'll take a look at the upper and lower levels of the 8095 approach. You said before there was a weird shot, right? Yeah, weird shot. That's Pam gave us a heads up. Don't know why they're showing that shot. That is by what is called the Washington Bridge. Now, you say, what is the Washington Bridge? There's the George Washington Bridge, which we all know, and then the Washington Bridge is the smaller connector that connects the Bronx to, I always get confused, the Bronx to Manhattan. So the GWB is the main bridge that connects New Jersey to Manhattan, but the Bronx connector is called the Washington Bridge, and that's what that is. But it's moving just fine. Anyway, thought I would share that a little bit because when I first found out about that a few years ago, at the age of 55 at the time, I was like, really? There's a Washington and a George Washington Bridge right next to each other. There you go. 7:05, and this Sunday, August 17th, Peace Point, the animal sanctuary, will host a one-of-a-kind adoption event at Mother Teresa School in Atlantic Highlands from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Guests can meet adoptable animals, enjoy cruelty-free food from local vendors, and shop small and thrifted finds, and take part in activities like yoga, live music, CPR lessons, native plant Q&As, children's story hour, I should say, and free arts and crafts. Founded by artist and rescue dog mom Morgan Spicer, Peace Point's mission is to bring the community together through peace, kindness, and compassion for all beings. And a very good morning. Good to have you with us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so delighted to be here.
It's good to have you on, and I love your whole mission. I was a rescue dog dad for many years. My little baby died unfortunately a year ago, but she lived a very happy 13 and a half years. Little Penny, my Pomeranian, and it's where she was a
Oh,
thoroughbred puppy Pomeranian who was a rescue. So that's
oh,
a rarity. But it
yeah.
is so true that they know they're
Yeah,
rescued.
Pomeranians are so cute. I actually have my little Pomeranian mix sitting right next to me today, who is actually from one of the rescues who's going to be joining us. So we're going to have
Yeah, I
five
was gonna
separate
say you gotta
rescues.
show us. You gotta show us. And,
Yes,
and what
yes.
what inspired you to start Peace Point, by the way? And how does your background as an illustrator influence the mission of Peace Point?
Well, I was super lucky to have parents who definitely wanted me to go to college. So we took a trip up to the Northeast and I visited a bunch of schools and I sat down with a professor who said to me, I was choosing between art and basically being a vet or an ethologist or biologist. And the vet looked at me and said, you don't necessarily have to have a degree in ethology or biology to have an animal sanctuary. So why don't you pursue art? And then someday the animals will come to you, which is what I did. So I did 55 children's books. I've done thousands of portraits of animals all across the globe. And now I'm finally doing what I really think I'm meant to do, which is work with Peace Point and kind of bring the community together under the love of nature and animals, like you so beautifully mentioned in your intro for me. So thank you so much. I want to shout out
Absolutely.
Humble Roots, who you guys had on your show not that long ago,
Hmm.
who is going to be serving up an amazing menu for everybody to come. So it's really, even if you're not looking to adopt an animal, we would still love for you to come and get together with the community, grab something to eat, shop small, and there is a thrift shop on the location. It's a beautiful property. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's huge. It's a school and a thrift shop, and there's a back lot where we're going to have food trucks and bubbles and chalk and things for kids to do. And it's hopefully going to be a great day for people to come together and kind of just enjoy each other's company, get off the screens a little bit, is kind of the plan.
That's a good thing. And you know what? As a former
Yeah.
Catholic priest, I'm going to rename you here on the set. You are Mother Teresa. That is
Oh,
that. Oh, better yet, better yet. No, no, I'll give you one more than Mother Teresa. I rename you Saint Francis because the animals
oh,
will come to you. How about that? So
well,
I
that
love your
works
whole
really
mission.
well.
You have a
Thank you so
very
much.
some would say you have good Zen, and I would say as the Catholic side, I would say you exhibit love. You have very very beautiful vibes of love and calm and peace and
Oh,
tranquility that you exude. So it's so nice to have
oh,
you on.
thank you.
Perfect for the morning.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. I
That's the
really
truth.
appreciate being here.
Certainly. And now this sounds like so much more fun. As you mentioned, it's more than just adoption. And why Atlantic Highlands though? Why was this the location for the gathering?
Well, I married a New Yorker, and he was never, ever, ever gonna move to New Jersey until I brought him to Atlantic Highlands, and we took one look around town. We saw, the movie theaters, Smod Castles, Atlantic Cinemas at the time, the C Street Ferry right there, right into Manhattan, and he was like, "Okay, you know what? I never thought I'd be a New Jerseyan, but I guess if it's Atlantic Highlands, I will move." So we ended
I'm
up,
with you, by the
buying a
way.
home here, and we
Yeah.
just love the town. It's the jewel of the Bayshore, as we like to say, and it's
Yep.
great because you can come visit us for the day, and you can walk around the marina. You can visit the Strauss Mansion. You can go see a movie. There's a lot to do. It's a delightful little town, and we love it.
That's awesome. When I was a lifer from Westchester County, and I moved to
Oh,
Florida when I came back. I'm from New Rochelle. And
oh,
when I
nice.
came back from living in Florida for 5 years full time, I still live there part time, but I came back from living there full time. And a friend of mine, I worked at Channel 7 for 20 years, but a friend of mine there said, you
Nice.
really need to, it's easier to commute to Channel 7 because they were on the Upper West Side at the time. He said it's easier to commute in from New Jersey than from Westchester because Westchester, you got to go all the way across from the east side of the West. Why don't you just come in from New Jersey? And he told me where to go. And it's exactly the area he's told me to go to. So I ended up settling in North Bergen, right on the water.
Nice.
And that was my first taste of New Jersey. And I have never moved out. I have been in New Jersey
Yeah,
since 2003,
I don't know why
2004.
you would leave. Yeah, my
Right.
husband's from Westchester as well, so I'd say, we've got a lot of good vibes here this morning.
Absolutely. Well, tell us more now about you have cruelty-free food vendors and local businesses participating. We touched on them a little bit. So talk about the
Yes.
healthy roots and the whole idea. Is it vegan or vegetarian or tell us about
It's
their whole mission.
So Humble Roots is all vegan, and it's kind of a comfort food. I don't know if you can see the menu behind me. We've got some mac and cheese,
Nice.
cannolis. He makes the best cannolis in the whole world. And our what we really like to say is cruelty free, just because that really kind of embraces what we're going for, which is compassion for people and animals together. And we really wanted to create a space where you don't really have to think about whether things are bought from something I feel like people
Something
these
that was
days are
alive.
very concerned. Well, yes, of course, but also the human aspect of it as well. So,
Hmm.
we're trying to kind of bring together a community of people who think about their purchases every single day. So it's not just the food, it's not just the clothes, it's where you're sourcing your materials. Are you shopping small and local? It's not just about animals. Like we really want to bring people together too. And having cruelty-free food, also known as vegan food, kind of makes it easier for people to enjoy themselves, to be adopting animals, to be learning about native plants, and to also be putting things in our body that are just as kind as the way that we would
You
like the
know,
atmosphere of the event to feel.
Morgan, you would appreciate my late grandma who lived to be 100, rest her soul. She used to say
Oh,
all the time,
wow.
you need to know how to do. She was from Italy and then went to Argentina and then to the United States. So she lived and she spoke like 7 languages and only had a second grade education. It was amazing.
Oh my
Amazing.
gosh. Wow.
Yeah, just she was just an inspiration like beyond. And she used to say, you need to know how to do everything yourself to appreciate the effort that others do. And it sort of falls
That
into the same concept of what you're talking about. So she taught me how to stitch. She taught me how to actually make fabric. She taught me how to
wow.
garden. She taught me how to cook. And it's so funny how because she knew how to cook and she would take, we used to eat, some meat, but very little. But she used to talk about how, and to this day, by the way, I eat almost no meat. As I get older, I've lost the taste. But I also, from a moral perspective, I understand it and I respect it. I do respect
Oh,
it.
thank you. Oh, that's so great.
And then especially if you have pets, you look at them and you think, you know what? There, but for the grace of God, go I that. It wasn't a dog that humans decided was going to be our food. God forbid that it was going to be that poor cow. And if that's just why
Mhm.
farmers don't name their cows because how do you name an animal and then kill it? I get it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's from a good place that you all do this, and forgive me for misnaming the restaurant before. I think
Oh,
that's a
no
wonderful.
worries.
So it's good. There's a
It is
place for
Humble
everybody.
Roots, so I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
Yeah, we'll give him a little extra plug there too. Definitely.
Yeah,
How can
yeah.
people support Peace Point's work beyond attending the event? So what's your website so people can get more info?
Peacepoint.com, there's an E at the end of point, and you can
Mhm.
follow us on Instagram. At peace.point. And stay tuned because we really hope that someday this one day event turns into a physical location so that we would be able to have this space for people to come together and be a part of this community, adopt animals and eat cruelty-free food and have it be an everyday thing for people to kind of come together and not necessarily have to spend a lot of money, just kind of like enjoy your community, kind of like a third space. So instead of having to just necessarily visit a park. Now you can kind of come to a location and be around your community and get back together. Because I do kind of feel like we've lost a little bit of that face to face time. Um,
Yeah.
and you mentioned being a priest, and this event is at a church property, and I do
Yes.
think that it's not necessarily about religion; it's kind of about
No.
spirituality and being together.
Right.
And I think that whatever we can do to bring that back into people's lives in this country would be really
Yeah,
nice.
just take the message. Take the message. You don't have to follow the rules as they're laid out if you understand what the end goal is, right? The end goal is this. If you get there, I'm telling you, we like to go via Main Street. You want to go via North Avenue, and you could still get there. That's the way to do it, right? And that's sort of the point.
Yeah.
So I
Every
love what you're
cruelty-free
doing.
meal is a win. Every time you sit down
I'm
to a
with you.
meal and you are cruelty-free, that is a huge win, and it's a win for the
I must
animals.
confess, I have become, and I never used to be a pasta guy. I live like morning, noon, and night on pasta. My dad, who's from Italy, my dad is a pasta guy, and he never used to eat pasta. We have eaten, and I hate that there's any animal protein in our lives, but there's versus what we used to eat years ago, and it's a combination
Well,
of
we hope
things.
you'll
It's not
join
only
us on August 17th. Maybe you'll come and you'll have
you know
some,
what? I would.
Blueberry
It's my
pasta.
mother's birthday that weekend, or else I would. I would.
Oh, happy
She's going to be
birthday.
87. Yes, thank you, and I will pass that on. But I want to make sure everybody knows, especially if you're in that area, just stop by, support morally, if nothing else, the Peace Point adoption event, and you don't have to adopt. Go by and enjoy the people and the views and the animals, and enjoy the Peace Point adoption event. It's this Sunday, August 17th at Mother Teresa School, Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Artist, rescue dog mom, and our new friend, Morgan Spicer. Thank you for joining us this morning. God bless you.
Thank you so
And
much.
oh, we
Thank
want to
you
see your
too.
Pomeranian. Where's your friend? Where's your little buddy?
Oh, Roscoe, come here, baby. Here he is.
Roscoe. I love it. Oh, that's
I know.
who's your good baby? Who's a
He's
good
very
baby?
cute.
Oh, he's a
Yeah, he's a
sweetie.
good
He
boy.
loves his
Thank you so
mommy too.
much.
He's a
It was
mama's boy.
Oh, yeah. Don't tell his dad. Have a wonderful morning. Thank you so
You as
much for
well.
your time. Bye.
Thank you. And good luck. All the best this weekend. May you have a permanent space very soon as well.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Have a great day, Morgan. It is now 7:17, 64 degrees. And when we come back, New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein will have the latest on New Jersey's political scene with the Inside Edge. Another mostly sunny day today, high 91. A little more humid, though. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with a full Garden State forecast. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We're back in 30. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Tuesday. I'm Ken Rosato at 718, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Another mostly sunny day, a little more humid, high of 91. Right now we have 65 degrees. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. You feel the humidity. It's palpable
Yes.
in the air this morning, and you can start to see that haze developing. A little bit of the residual wildfire smoke in northeastern New Jersey. There could be some more on the way again for this weekend. We'll get to that part of the forecast in just a bit. But it's clear again toward the beaches. Another fantastic beach day with temperatures holding in the mid 80s and low 90s as further west you head of the Parkway, especially there toward Freehold and up by New Brunswick, mid 90s for you. So yeah, it'll feel warm. It'll certainly have that mugginess to the air, not terribly humid. That arrives tomorrow. So take a look at the wildfire smoke, most of it now to the northeastern corner of the state. Still lots of smoke emanating from those fires there in Canada. But as far as our cloud cover, we're pretty clear today. Looks nice and dry with another beautiful day. A lot of this wet weather from the west will move in by tomorrow, allowing for a wet finish to the day, even though we start off pretty dry and sunny. Today, nice and sunny as well. UV index back up at an 8, which is very high on the map, so be sure to use a sunscreen this afternoon. And with dew points hovering in the low 70s at the shore, it'll really feel humid by tomorrow morning. Even west of the Turnpike, you see over there toward Trenton and up by Morristown, a really sticky feel early in the morning on your Wednesday. It only gets more humid through the afternoon as the thunderstorms come in by the end of the day. Thunderstorms tomorrow, by the way, are pretty short lived and they're also not severe. So I'm not anticipating any flooding from them or even some damaging winds. It's just going to be a general afternoon run of the mill summer type storm. Notice by Thursday evening, you have to wait all the way till Thursday night for that dry air to filter through, where the dew points are in the 50s in northwestern New Jersey as opposed to the mid 70s there along the coast. That's a big difference in just a short time. And that dry air will filter through throughout the rest of the day on Friday, making it feel very comfortable by the end of the work week. So, as far as Saturday is concerned, another beautiful start to the weekend. Sunday, dry again, maybe some clouds by the end of the day could lead into a pretty cloudy Monday. But beyond that, we're looking very pretty going into next week. And I think we stay dry until Tuesday, our next opportunity for a little bit of rain. So, overall, looking pretty good going into the weekend. And speaking of that weekend forecast, it does turn warm, but it's comfortable to start. I think Saturday is actually quite comfortable, even though highs are in the low 90s. It's Sunday that turns more humid by the end of the weekend. That will feel a little bit more uncomfortable come Sunday. So we're not out of the woods just yet. And each and every day, we're kind of teetering on that 90-degree mark. So it's a close call, if you will, for a heat wave. If we can do it by tomorrow and certainly again later on in the weekend, it's possible given how warm this weather's getting, Ken.
It's amazing how many we've had, just heat wave after heat wave this summer. It is summertime, I get it, but
Sure.
it's rare that you have multiple, heat wave after, and especially we had a 100-degree heat wave as well this summer,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
not just a day or two, but was it like 4 or 5 4 days, I
It
guess,
was
or 5 days?
multiple. Yeah, they were pretty long.
Yeah. That's pretty big. This was definitely big, a baker of a summer, but there you go. All right, Mike, thank you, sir. It is 63 degrees right now in northern New Jersey, and in Trenton, 68 degrees. And again, as Mike has mentioned in the past, it all depends on what the humidity and whatnot is and how the sun hits the ground in certain areas at certain times of the day. Yesterday at this time, both areas were exactly the same in temperature. Take a look at the traffic, and we do have a lot of it right now. Let's go to I-195 eastbound west of exit 6, the New Jersey Turnpike in Robbinsville. This is by US 130. Take a look at that. We now have all lanes closed due to that crash. You could see the emergency vehicles on the right side, and you could see what Mike was talking about with the haze. Yeah, that haze and a little bit of smoke in the air. And this is down in Robbinsville, closer to Trenton, but you can see nonetheless the smoke, and it's causing residual. Look, people have their headlights on the left side. You could see the residual delays, the rubbernecking on the opposite side as people are coming up. But again, this is a crash on 195 eastbound west of exit 6 by the turnpike in Robbinsville. All lanes are closed. Avoid that area like the plague if you can. It is an absolute mess. We have a disabled vehicle on the turnpike in a roadway southbound north of interchange 9, which is Route 18 in New Brunswick. One right lane blocked, and a crash on Route 23 southbound south of Patterson Hamburg Turnpike in Kinnelon. One right lane is closed. A fluid spill still from earlier on I-80 eastbound east of Alamucci rest area in Alamucci Township. All lanes are closed there, and we have an overturned vehicle on 295 northbound north of exit 45, which is Mount Holly Road in West Hampton Township. The right lane and right shoulder both closed. Just an absolute mess on our roadways today. I think a lot of it, people, we've been noting Mondays and Fridays, a lot of people are off. They've been taking long weekends all summer. Tuesday seems to be the day, and Tuesday morning, Thursday afternoon seem to be super trafficy times because people are extending their weekend getaways this summer. So we'll see what happens come the fall. Let's take a look at the Hudson River crossings. 10 minutes right now at the Holland. It's 10 to 15 at the Lincoln and the GWB. Do we even have that camera yet, Pam? They're still, I don't know why they're showing this shot. This is what we got. It's the best we can do. We are told it's 10 to 15 at the GWB as well. 724, it is now time for politics from Trenton Explained like nobody else can do it. Here is New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein with the Inside Edge.
Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, August 12th. Welcome to the Inside Edge. I want to talk about a woman named Mildred Preen, who is the youngest woman to ever be elected to the New Jersey State Assembly. She was just 23 years old when Hunterdon County voters sent her to the legislature. And she was already a trailblazer. She was the first woman to graduate from the Newark College of Engineering, that's now NJIT, with a degree in electrical engineering. She got a master's in Columbia. She was one of New Jersey's first female licensed pilots. And so when she ran for the assembly in 1941, that was the same year Republican Wesley Lance, Leonard Lance's father, won a state Senate seat with ease. But Preen, a Democrat, was considered a really strong retail campaigner, a skilled orator, and she won the assembly seat by 226 votes against a guy named Chester Champ, a World War I veteran and a daily farmer. And while she was serving in the legislature, she was working a day job for Western Electric. In those days, legislators served 1-year terms. So she got reelected in 42 with 62% as a Democrat in Hunterdon County. When she went back to Trenton, there were now 6 women in the legislature. They all sponsored a bill that would have required juries to be equally split between men and women. The bill never got anywhere. And she won re-election in 43 with 54%, but she wound up resigning her seat early because she enlisted in the U.S. Navy waves during World War II. After the war, she went to Columbia University and got a law degree. So she re-entered the political arena in 1948. She challenged State Senator Samuel Bodine, the chairman of the Senate Appropriations Committee. She hammered him over his $10,000 expense account for hotel rooms and dinners in Trenton. And so Bodine fired back. He alleged that Preen had taken a free hotel room in Trenton 5 years earlier for one night, hinting with malice that she shared it with another assemblywoman and billed the taxpayers. So Preen produced the receipt. She'd paid $3, half of the $6 nightly rate for a Trenton hotel room in 1943. A. Harry Moore, the former governor and U.S. senator, went on the radio to talk about what he called the scandalous Republican persecution. Preen sued Bodine for $100,000 in malicious defamation, but the damage struck, and Bodine won with 58%, and New Jersey wouldn't see a woman in the New Jersey State Senate till 1965. Preen wound up coming back, known after her marriage as Mildred Preen Mortimer. She shifted to local politics. She won a seat as a Democrat on the Tewksbury Township Committee in the early 60s. I think she served 12 years, but her male colleagues never allowed her to take a rotation as mayor. That's it for today, everybody. Thanks for listening. I'll be back tomorrow.
It is 7:28. Looks like Newark Liberty International Airport may continue limiting flights into and out of the facility for another year.
We're here at Newark. This is the brand new runway, just completed 13 days early, Port Authority. Really well done. But this is going to help relieve some of the congestion that we have.
This is going to be, I think, the most reliable airport in the New York metro area for the rest of this summer.
This is a 60-day project that actually is completed 13 days early. What you're seeing is everyone who touches the problem is giving their full-hearted effort. When you book your flight, you're going to fly. Scott does not like flights delayed. I don't like flights delayed or canceled.
They promoted this very, very healthfully, and rightfully so. They got their job done early, but not quite. The FAA still wants to continue capping flights at Newark through October 2026. The cutbacks began several months ago when they made that promo due to runway construction and staffing shortages. Now, they finished the runway construction. Everything looks great with that, but they're still short on staff. It takes more than a day, let's say, to train air traffic controllers and other staffers. For now, only 34 flights are allowed each hour. That number was was supposed to increase by this year's end, but safety first. The FAA says hopefully by next summer. They're blaming, again, staffing issues for that decision. Well, remember this blast from the past. Yes. Like it was yesterday, the AOL dial-up internet service that those of a certain age associate with the World Wide Web is coming to a close. Who knew that this still is in service? Yes, you can actually, if you have an old dial-up modem, you could actually use AOL right now through the end of September, right? But there are many parts of the world that don't have high-speed internet, and that's how you get online. Of course, I don't know what you could send because the data is so slow on that, but nonetheless, it exists. The company, also known as its You've Got Mail, remember that guy? You've Got Mail greeting, and the CD trial discs. Well, it made the announcement on its website the other day. AOL is now part of Yahoo, and they said the dial-up service, along with the AOL Dialer software and the AOL Shield browser, will be discontinued September 30th. America Online, as it was called then, before it became just AOL, was famous for its free trial discs, which seemed to be everywhere. You go into any supermarket and you'd see packs with the trial discs. Back in the 1990s, when the internet was gaining steam, as we called it, the interwebs. I'm kidding. Households all across the US, if you had AOL, you were cool. There was no Google. Back then, if you wanted to look something up, you went on AOL. AOL did everything. It was your browser, it was your email, everything. Now, in 2006, Verizon sold AOL and Yahoo to private equity firm Apollo Global Management for $5 billion. And they've owned it now actually in full since 2021. It is 66 degrees right now at 7:31. The phone lines are open. We'll take calls at 888-658-0234. Another mostly sunny day today. High of 91. A little more humid today. The full Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Pavetta in just a moment. You're watching On New Jersey Morning, seen daily at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, news on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, X. And we're streamed live on Substack, on Rumble, and on Twitch. If you use Twitch, you can go to twitch.tv/OnNewJersey. We will be back in 30.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Good morning. 66 degrees in northern New Jersey, 68 degrees in central. It is 7:33, Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Another mostly sunny day today. A little more humid, though. Highs 91. Meteorologist Mike Pavetta with the detailed Garden State forecast. How's it going to be down the shore, Mike?
It's going to be beautiful down the shore. Really pretty day to enjoy on the sand. And today's the day to do it because I think, Ken, tomorrow you'll have some storms coming in by around 1 or 2 o'clock. So it would cut your beach day a little short. Some high thin clouds now working in across the coast. You can see them here on the visible satellite as the sun rises. With that, some high clouds coming in from the south and west. That'll make for some filtered sunshine early on this morning. But overall, it's still going to be a beautiful day down at the beaches from LBI, 85 for you, all the way through Atlantic City and down toward Cape May. The further west you go, the little warmer it gets, especially up toward 90 degrees over in Camden. And South Jersey is looking great with better air quality today. A little more haze and smog there up in northeastern New Jersey, thanks to some of those smoke particles lingering. As far as the high today, we'll make it up into the low 90s, still not hitting the record set back in 2021 of 98 degrees, but it'll be warm through this afternoon with lots of sun. So enjoy, I think, our last full day of sun until we get to Friday, because there will be those showers tomorrow afternoon and again on Thursday afternoon. Water temperatures in the 70s, high tide happening later on tonight, so your low tide coinciding with about the time it's about to wrap up at the beaches today, around 4 and 5 o'clock. Wave height anywhere from 2 to 3 feet, looking good today. And there's a low risk of rip currents which is always welcome, especially at the beaches with those southerly breezes on the lighter side. So today it's going to feel very pleasant with lots of sun through this afternoon. Again, the futurecast, like we showed you before, climbing into the low 90s inland, cooling off with that sea breeze by around 2 and 3 o'clock into the upper 70s. Breeze getting a little gusty by the end of the day. So that low 70-degree temperature tonight, feeling a little more humid, and that will help inspire those storms to move throughout tomorrow afternoon between, say, 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. tomorrow. Then we get another round on Thursday afternoon, but once that clears, we're beautiful going into the upcoming weekend. So here's the front that comes in from the west, gives us our showers and storms tomorrow. Once it clears, it again takes some time to move through, so it'll likely linger through about Thursday afternoon, and then Friday, dry weather settles in, and we have a beautiful start to the weekend with that comfortable feel, nice low humidity, setting up for this upcoming weekend. That leads to a dry start to Saturday, but it'll be a more humid finish to the week on Sunday. So we're basically in the low 90s right through Thursday. You get a break on Friday, 89 degrees, then back in the 90s again on Saturday and Sunday. So we're pretty warm going into the rest of this week, with Monday cooling off to 88 degrees. It's another dry, beautiful weekend, just more humid by Sunday, and the shore point's a little bit cooler, but more humid at night, so temperatures stay a little bit warmer for you through the overnight hours, Sunday into Monday, cooling back off into the mid 80s. So lots of heat to come, but not extreme heat, just on the border of being uncomfortable. At least it's sunny, it'll be dry. Just have those 2 afternoons on Wednesday and Thursday, kind of the showers, and then we're smooth sailing into this weekend.
You know what's funny? When people talk about having dinner with me, they usually say, "Honey, when we go out with Ken, I'm usually on the border of being uncomfortable." I just find that phrase, it just rings because it usually gets back to me, and it's always an awkward evening. Maybe this is a conversation for another time. I don't know. All right, thank you for putting up with me. You are the best. I already talked to the church. You've earned your saint. You earned your sainthood 5 months ago. So just so that
Oh,
you
thank
know,
you.
you continue to do this only out of the goodness of your heart at this point. But
Do I get like a canonization dinner or something?
you've gotten 5. You can hand out the canonizations to others because you already got yours. You've got
Cool.
multiples. It's like having multiple gold stars as a kid in like kindergarten. So. All right, Mike, we'll check back. Thank you, sir. Always appreciated. It is 63 degrees northern New Jersey. In Trenton, it's going up, though, faster, way faster. It's gone up another 2 degrees in the last 15 minutes. It's 68 degrees. In terms of traffic, let's go to the eastern spur north of the southern mixing bowl on I-95 on the turnpike. This is mile marker 106.5, and you can see that we do have traffic on the left side of your screen. That will flip over. You can see in the distance there the Pulaski Skyway. So that's going to flip over just beyond that point, and you have an exit for 78, and it'll get you over by Newark Airport, or as we'd say locally, Newark Airport. And that is why you have some delays there, people making their way to the airport. Not so bad. At least it's moving. That's a good thing. We have a crash with property damage on 195 eastbound west of exit 6 by the turnpike in Robbinsville, and we have all lanes closed there. So I don't know what property damage there would be if they mean that the vehicles are damaged, but unless there's that could be by a service island or something, but they're calling it property damage. We have a crash on I-80 westbound west of 60, which is Route 20 in Patterson. The left lane is closed. That's causing rubbernecking for all the other lanes going through that area, which is always congested at this hour. A fluid spill on I-80 right now, eastbound east of Alamucci Rest area in Alamucci Township with all lanes closed. A disabled vehicle on the turnpike inner roadway southbound north of interchange 9, Route 18 in New Brunswick with the right lane blocked, and the single vehicle that was involved has been moved to the shoulder. Water main break on the North Service Road southbound in the vicinity of Cargo Road. This is on the Rockland County border with northern New Jersey. All lanes are closed, and they're alternating traffic in the northbound lanes. We have another one here, an overturned vehicle, 295 northbound, north of exit 45, which is Ranacas Road in West Hampton Township. The right lane and right shoulder are closed. And finally, we take a look at the Hudson River approaches. This is the GWB upper and lower levels there. The extreme right is the lower level, the trucks there. That's upper level. And right now, we're told it's about a 15 to 20-minute crossover time. Holland and Lincoln both report 10 minutes. 7:39 is our time. Experience Newark is a summer-long citywide campaign linking the city's biggest festivals and events with its food, nightlife, and culture. I used to live in Belleville, right next to Newark, and I used to be in Newark all the time. Great city. At its heart is a free digital passport that unlocks exclusive deals at over 20 local restaurants and bars, encouraging visitors to explore Newark beyond the arena. Joining us now are Ashley Mays, Chief Marketing Officer of Newark Alliance and President of Newark Happening, and Jason Wallace, the restaurant scientist and President and CEO of Hospitality Concepts. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Ken.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Great. I got to ask, do you say Newark or do you say Newark?
I'll start with. I'll start. I say Newark, but I'm actually not originally from Newark. I'm from Central Jersey, so I'm still learning.
There you go. And me too. How about yourself?
No, it's no.
Yeah, you say Newark.
Newark.
Yeah, it's one. It's not Newark. It's Newark. Newark, and that's I learned when I moved to Belleville. All the people I lived near Belleville, they all because like years ago when you first got to the area, you lived in Newark, and then you moved out. Like if you wanted to buy a big house, you moved into Belleville or Nutley, etc. And so all the people in Belleville were from everyone in the neighborhood was from Newark, but they all said, "Yeah, I grew up in Newark," and they'd say down. What did they call it? Down neck. Yeah, I was down neck. Down neck. That's great. It's such a wonderful city with big boulevards. People who don't know Newark don't know what they're missing. And you got great restaurants and a great nightlife. So, what was the inspiration behind creating the Experience Newark campaign? And a brilliant campaign it is. Tell us about it.
Thanks. Thanks, Ken. So it started with a collaboration between the City of Newark, Invest Newark, which is our economic development agency, and NJ PAC. And in preparation for Prudential North to Shore, NJ PAC manages that, they reached out to us and asked us to help them be super intentional about connecting visitors going to the concerts to the local food scene. And so with that, the campaign expanded beyond just focusing on Prudential North to Shore, but we have a robust festival scene in Newark. The city is super activated over the summer. And so we extended the campaign throughout the entire summer to leverage all of the activity that's happening.
That's awesome. And Jason, talk about you being the scientist. Describe that and how you got involved originally with helping to bring more people in to experience the great restaurants and all that we have in Newark.
Yeah, been in Newark since I was 18, 42 years. My kids is born and raised here, bred here. Local high school. I've always believed in Newark. I was a sous chef at the Hanlon Pavilion in West Orange. I'm a chef by trade.
Wait a minute, I have to interrupt you. Do you know the Knowles family? They're good friends of mine.
Absolutely. I know Kurt Knowles, Mr. Knowles very, very well. Extremely
good
well.
people. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please go on.
Yeah, no doubt. So, classically French trained, La Rochelle, France, went to Bordeaux, studied wines, master's degree in food business from the Culinary Institute of America, 2 undergrad degrees. So I've been waiting for Newark. I was in Harlem during that Renaissance, saw Brooklyn go through it. And, being here in Newark for the last 42 years, I've been waiting. So the restaurant scientist basically is me, Hospitality Concepts. We have Just Delicious located at 214 Market Street. We're going to open up Alatante, which is at 212 Market Street, which was formerly the Mercado Pizza and the Novelty Burger locations. Right there by the Prudential Arena.
Cool.
Yep.
What a great location. You guys that's the epicenter. That is the epicenter. No, listen, I was just in Newark last week. I went to see a concert. I was at the new NJ PAC last week for a concert. And it is so for anyone who hasn't seen a show there, you don't know what you're missing. It is the most organized. They have everything they want people to come to town. So if you want to see an organized, neat, safe, wonderful, clean, great restaurants, good parking, That is where to go. And it didn't used to be that way, as you know, 20, 25 years ago, it was not the case. They have transformed that part of Newark, and the rest of the city is blooming as well. What a fantastic experience that is. And the food scene is phenomenal. So tell me how the free digital passport works and what the perks are that people can expect. Tell us, Ashley.
Yeah, so it's super simple. You can access the passport by going to newarkhappening.com and use your phone to scan the QR code. That QR code creates a shortcut to your phone. It's not an app that to download. And so once you open that, it's a listing of all the participating restaurants. And there's even a map function that helps you navigate around downtown. And there's major points of interest like Prudential Center and NJ Pack and Penn Station. And when you check into a participating restaurant with the host, you earn points, and points get you rewards like Newark gift cards of different denominations. We have swag like Newarkopoly games, and even we've had tickets donated to the program from NJ Pack, tickets to concerts. We even collaborated with the New York, New Jersey host committee to get free tickets to Club World Cup games last month, and got swag and collaborated with a bunch of restaurants in the Ironbound who were doing watch parties. So the program is flexible. It's meant to be inclusive of all sorts of different events. And we're really excited about the traction that we're getting.
And well, you should be. And Jason, share the success story from the Tyler the Creator show and the impact on all the local restaurants.
Incredible. My partnership with Ashley has been phenomenal. They increased my sales 40%.
Oh
40%.
man.
And that's huge, particularly in the summertime, because traditionally, historically, July and August have been slow times. So
Right.
my partnership with Experience Newark is invaluable, and we
Yeah,
thank
everybody
them.
goes down the shore in the summer, right? Everybody heads
Yeah,
down the shore, so
exactly,
that leaves all of North.
exactly.
Which, listen, as a local who lives in northern New Jersey, it's the best time to get into restaurants because you can get a reservation. But
Right.
it's so anyone who lives locally, if you've wanted to try some great restaurants, get into Newark because there's everything. But especially if you love Brazilian and Portuguese, but you want to check out Jason's stuff too. You got to do it now. Now is a great time. Tell us more. So with the app, people that brought more people in to take advantage of checking out the restaurant. That's 40% is huge.
40% is huge, particularly. Yeah. And it was a Sunday. It was a Sunday, right? Sunday and Monday, which are off days. So
Right.
the work that Invest Newark is doing and Experience Newark is phenomenal. And the restaurants, we couldn't survive without it. I can tell you that.
That's awesome. So for let's start with Ashley on this and then Jason too. What role do you think that the arts and culture and like NJ Pack coming to Newark, do you feel that that was a pivotal moment that kind of helped transform? Because everyone said if you build it, they will come, and it looks like they were right.
Yep.
Yes, there is no doubt that having these major cultural assets downtown create economic impact for local businesses and residents. Having NJ Pack and Prudential Center. However,
Mhm.
it's a competitive market out there, and we need to be super proactive to direct people and really make sure that people understand what else there is to offer. That the city has to offer outside of the walls of the arena and the pack. So we're really excited to be laser focused on how we can help drive growth for local businesses, because we know small businesses are really the engines of our economy. They are job creators. The dollar spent at a small business circulates within the local economy longer than it does with a national chain. So everything that we do is really focused on how we can drive economic impact and create a welcoming visitor experience so people want to come back again and again.
Clearly, I mean, it is so obvious that I think a lot of people who think one thing of Newark in terms of congestion, they went out to the suburbs or they were born in the suburbs and they think, I don't want to go into the city. These are the same people who don't want to go into Manhattan or whatever. They need to experience it. When you experience Newark once, you'll be hooked. It is just a fun, wonderful city with a lot to offer, and it's just laid out nicely. And if anyone who thought Newark was gone, come in and see the difference. You will think again. What is a website for more information, please, so people can get more info on this?
NewarkHappening.com.
And I'm going to ask Jason
And
because I'm a foodie. Jason? What is your key? If you could pick a dish that is your key dish, what is your key dish, Jason?
Oh man. So I can't pick one. You know, I'm a chef, man. We love all of our kids, right?
It's like picking your
But we
favorite kid.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have fresh donuts coming out. You know, we cook them to order and we top them, right? I'm gonna show you. You know, we have chicken cheesesteaks. We have beef cheesesteaks. I do these fried grits, cheese grits that we refrigerate and we cut into squares and we bread them and we deep fry them. And when you break them open, cheese is ooey gooey's out. I mean, it's ridiculous. Fresh
You know,
milkshakes. The
you're
pizza's
going after my
incredible.
Italian heart. You realize that's because we do the polenta, but we don't do it as cheesy as that. We should. That sounds sick good. You know what I mean by
Yes.
sick good? That I could chow down on that all night. All right, I love you both. You got to come back on, please. Experience Newark before the end of the summer. Experience Newark, I should say, because it's called Experience Newark. The end of the summer and beyond. Great city. I think it's
thank
underutilized
you,
by
Ken.
people, especially in northern New Jersey. Ashley Mays, Chief Marketing Officer of Newark Alliance and President of Newark Happening, and Jason Wallace, the restaurant scientist, and our two new best friends here. Jason's also President and CEO of Hospitality Concepts. Thank you both for coming on this morning. Go
Thank you for
Newark.
having
Thanks,
You
Ken.
bet.
me. Thanks, Ken.
Absolutely. 750 right now. It really is a great city. Check it out. And Newark has such heart. It's such a good place to go hang out. Lots of great things to see and do. And it's such a great university town too. We got all such great colleges right there. It is 750 right now, and we have 65 degrees in northern New Jersey, 68 in Trenton. When we come back, the Jersey Shore is vital to the state's economy. What are we doing to ensure the shore remains pristine? We will explain. Sunshine today, a little more humid, highs about 91. We're coming right back. And welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Ken Rosato at 7:51 right now, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Straight to meteorologist Mike Pavetta with the hot and sticky forecast. We got a little more humidity today, Mike, huh?
There is day by day, a little more humidity, especially into tomorrow. I think we'll see the most humid day of the week with some showers that return by the afternoon, but no rain today. It'll be warm and humid up toward Hackensack and Jersey City, likely the warmest locations in New Jersey, with a little bit of that haze too. Back over toward Newton and Sussex, slightly cooler, but not by much. You'll feel the heat too, with highs reaching 90 once more. Air quality is okay right now, but it drops by the afternoon. We get into the upper 80s in terms of the air quality. It's still below 100, so it's not super unhealthy, but it is a little bit of a concern, especially for those with respiratory issues. As far as the drought, not a concern across New Jersey, but we are in a rainfall deficit. So the rain that comes in tomorrow will certainly be helpful, considering how dry it has been over the last month or so. A 2 to 4 inch rainfall deficit there from Trenton and Mount Holly, even stretching back over toward Morristown, that area of red just showing up since the middle of June. So this is our next tropical system. Like I mentioned, it formed into a named storm yesterday, Erin. And Tropical Storm Erin has its sights just north of the Caribbean. The official hurricane track puts it staying in the Atlantic Basin, strengthening into a major Category 3 hurricane by Sunday, been putting it just north of the Leeward Islands and Puerto Rico. So beyond that, it's pretty hard to tell where it'll go. These maps only go out 5 days for good reason, because storms kind of have a mind of their own beyond that. So you look at your favorite weather model online and it'll show you kind of a different solution every 12 hours. Our forecast here is quiet, at least through the next few days. Yes, we have the rain tomorrow into Thursday, but beyond that, a pretty decent go of things and a very warm start to the weekend, although drier come Friday with less humidity. The 7-day forecast has those shower chances tomorrow and Thursday, and then dry on Friday. Less humid start to the weekend, with Saturday feeling comfortable at 89, but we're right back in the mid 90s come Sunday with more humidity and then Monday cools off yet again. The shore points also look very pleasant with a little bit of that rain lingering into Thursday, and then Friday, beautiful. Saturday and Sunday, another gem of a weekend with highs climbing into the upper 80s, Ken.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. It is 7:54 right now. We have 65 degrees northern New Jersey, 68 in Trenton. And residents in Paterson are still grappling with a major water main break from late last week. Nearly 200,000 customers remain under a boil water advisory, with some areas lacking service entirely and thousands facing low pressure. So I'm going to pause for a second as we look at the video there, and I'm going to ask you something. What are you paying for your taxes? You have water mains that are 150 years old. It's not a shock. It's not a surprise. You pay the highest property taxes in the entire United States. We pay the higher local taxes. We pay the higher tax on all the products you buy. Where is the frickin' money going? There should have been, if you had a governor who knew what they were doing, you would have had a long-term plan so that 150-year-old water mains would be ripped up and replaced. They did do it in other cities. They replaced all the water mains in like Belleville. Why can't they do it in Patterson? I'm sorry, but is it the party that's been in power in Patterson now for decade after decade after decade? But that is an embarrassment that they have a 150-year-old water main. And by the way, the fact that it is still after all this time now, since Friday, they still can't get it fixed. It is Tuesday, and they're still saying it could be another 2 days. Just an embarrassment. So the city is providing free water. Gee, when you have no water to bathe in, they're giving you bottles of water. The Passaic Valley Water Commission is providing that bottled water, portable showers and toilets. I think people just want to have a shower in their own home. Thank you. Repairs are delayed because crews are struggling to locate the break on that 30-inch main, requiring custom pipes. Officials hope to restore pressure, quote, soon, but flushing and testing could extend the advisory. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It is just ridiculous that in this era we have that happening. So I'm going to just check with Pam. Pam, are you saying then we are going to go to Grace? All right, so let's do that if we can. 7:56. And beach replenishment isn't just about summer fun. It is about protecting homes and businesses and the economy along New Jersey's coast, our beautiful coast. With shifting federal priorities, funding for these projects could be at risk. And joining us now to share why the issue matters, especially now, what's at stake, is Grace Hanlon, who is the executive director of the Jersey Shore Partnership. Grace, first of all, good morning. Good to have you on.
Well, good morning, Ken. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And we are so blessed, and I'm a transplant into New Jersey. We are so blessed to have the most pristine, beautiful shoreline. Probably, I would put us up against any other state. And so, why is it thus so important to replenish New Jersey's beaches and take such good care of them?
Well, I can start by saying I was the director of tourism during Superstorm Sandy, and I watched the devastation firsthand. And the beaches that were replenished, that were wider, and that had nourished dunes fared better. There was less
Hmm.
damages. Homes were not destroyed. So we know that beach replenishment works when we have these weather incidents that can be quite severe and unpredictable. So it protects infrastructure, it protects families, it protects our roads and homes. So it's really important for safety purposes to make sure that we have wide, nourished beaches.
Yeah, listen, I live part-time in South Florida, and from where I am, I'm on the beach. I look out permanently at the
Mhm.
ships.
Yeah.
Literally, they dot the waterways, and they are permanently out there pumping up sand from 2 and 3 miles
Hmm.
out and bringing it in. That it's not just as needed, it is a regular thing. It's just part of the maintenance of the beaches. So, and that's a federal thing. That's got to come from the federal government. That's bigger than the state. So but now we're having issues at the federal level, of course. So talk about what is changing at the federal level that could affect future funding for us here in the Garden State.
Well, let's first start off by saying I'm positive. I really do think that our legislators, Congressman Smith, Congressman Van Drew, Congressman Pallone, are representing us well in DC to get this fixed. what happens is when you have a new administration coming in, you don't necessarily always have the funding
Hmm.
coming down the same mechanism. So right now, I know some of our shore legislators are upset that it's not in the Senate appropriations bill. But with that said, I've been in touch with, Congressman for Van Drew's office. They're in touch with the president's office. We're working this out to make sure this money will come down from the federal level to give us, support to match us, because at the state level we do have to match the federal dollars. And I feel optimistic that this is going to get worked out.
Yeah, we have 130 miles of Atlantic shoreline. We've got to take care of it, and it is vital to the state's economy. I mean, the Jersey Shore is as important to the state, if not more important. I mean, that's tourism, and otherwise, do you want people from other parts of the state to spend their summers elsewhere? Then we want to keep the money in the state and let people enjoy the beauty that we have right here. What do you think the impact would be on those shore communities if we didn't take care of the beaches and the sand?
I, I think it would be devastating, but I
Yeah.
do think it's going to be taken care of. Let me say that part.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I feel I think that it's a billion-dollar industry, so it's wonderful for our communities to have a beautiful shore. It's wonderful for tourism. Like I said before, I was director of tourism. I fell hard for all the mom and pop businesses along the shoreline that have been passed down for generation to generation. That brings so much joy to families locally and to our tourists year after year returning to our wonderful beaches and boardwalks. They are definitely, it's, I feel our Jersey Shore is a national treasure that
Hmm.
needs to be protected, and I believe it will continue to be protected.
I'm with you 100%, Grace. I love it. I'm originally from Westchester County, and we had the Long Island Sound, and it's pretty, but the Long Island Sound is brown. The Jersey Shore water is not brown. I thought as a kid that all water, like any kind of wide waterways, are brown. I didn't realize, oh, you mean it's actually blue or green? I had no idea. And when I first hit the Jersey Shore, I thought, this is gorgeous. It's just from Asbury Park and Sandy Hook down, go down to Cape May, you'll fall in love and you'll never want to go to a Florida beach. It is just beautiful. Wildwood, just a stunning, stunning array of beaches that we have, and we really have to take good care of them. And again, beach maintenance, it's not something that should just be occurring whenever we have, as you said, whenever we have a major storm like Superstorm Sandy. It's got to be ongoing. They do it in Florida. They always have beach replenishment 24/7, 365. It's always going on, and it's got to happen here too. What's a website for
Yeah.
more information, Grace?
Yeah, we have to stay ahead of it. You want to be
Yeah.
proactive with keeping your beaches wide. Uh, Jersey Shore Partnership .com. We're out there advocating. We're speaking to our local representatives, state level, federal level, and just I'll end on the note that as a representative for the beaches, I remember what it was like to be at a local bar in Seabright called Donovan's, and we watched the waves break underneath the deck. You'd
Wow.
stand there having a beer and you'd get splashed by it. So I know what it's like to watch the ocean, pounding our seawalls and coming over the seawalls. We don't have that anymore. We have wide
Right.
beaches that protect infrastructure and stimulate a $50 billion industry here in New Jersey.
We just take it for granted. We just assume the sand is always going to be down there, forgetting that no, it gets
Wasn't like
washed
that
out.
before. This is
Nope.
yeah,
That's
and
and that's why, by
it's
the way,
been
for
on
people
the
who don't
line.
realize that, that's why they build breakers also, is to keep some of that sand from being drawn back out to sea. But that's an expensive
Correct.
thing to do. But that might be down the line if things improve with the national economy. That might be something that Jersey needs, is breakers up and down the 130 miles to preserve some of that beautiful, beautiful beach. Jersey Shore is the best. Grace Hanlon, Executive Director of the Jersey Shore Partnership, thank you for doing what you do, and thank you for joining us this morning. Please come back again.
My pleasure. Thanks, Ken.
You bet. It's 8:03 right now. In fact, Pam, let's forego the top of the hour break. Let's keep going here because of our time. We want to talk about International Overdose Awareness Day. It's August 31st. We're going to go to our guests in just a moment, but it's something that you really need to hear about, especially those of us living in New Jersey. So that's something very, very important. And we want you to be aware, especially if you have kids, you want to listen. to this, and that's coming up in just a moment. 8:03 is our time, and it is Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. This is On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We're taking your calls at 888-658-0234. We're going to have another mostly sunny day, a little more humid with high about 91. We head to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a check of the Garden State forecast. Hey, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. A very humid start to the day, but more humidity creeps back in. You'll really feel it by tomorrow, especially in the evening after that rain falls. Now, that rain will help to clear some of the air, which is still a little smoky, especially in the northeastern corner of the state. Right now, Westchester and the city have the air quality alerts, not New Jersey specifically, but we'll see that moderate level of air quality by the end of the day. Our weather stays warm today. We're starting off in the 70s right now, 75 in Newark, 70 in Atlantic City, but climbing on our way once more into the low 90s. And with that, yes, it already starts to feel a little bit warmer than yesterday. We're about 2 degrees warmer in Sussex and Morristown, 4 degrees warmer in Toms River, and 5 degrees warmer in Mount Holly. This is the dew point. Anytime it's in the 70s, it starts to feel quite humid. Well, we'll be in the mid 70s by tomorrow afternoon. That will feel quite tropical and make it feel rather humid even down the shore. So with that breeze coming off of the water today, you get a lovely sea breeze again along the beaches. However, it'll feel quite damp and humid by the end of the day, giving us a little more fuel for the storms that come in tomorrow. Now, the storms tomorrow should not be severe. In fact, they'll be short-lived. They won't even give us a whole lot of rain, but a little bit of rain helps considering how dry it's been over the last month or so. With weather today staying clear, we start off tomorrow with some extra clouds. There come the storms as soon as 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon in the western corner of the state, and then working their way east throughout the rest of the day, finally finishing off around 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening down south. So a couple hours of wet weather, and then we're back to some humid and damp conditions for Thursday with the clouds, possibly another round of showers and storms in the afternoon on Thursday, and then I think we clear out by the end of the day, leading to a very pleasant start to the weekend. Lots of sunshine on Friday with that cooler weather. We start off in the 50s up there in Sussex, only climbing to the 70s there, and just making it back up to the upper 80s again. They're there in the northeastern corner of the state. Most of New Jersey, even the beaches, will look great throughout the end of the week. So 2 afternoons of rain tomorrow afternoon and Thursday, and then back to sunshine, leading to a gorgeous weekend ahead. Can't wait to tell you all about that coming up with another check of your forecast, Ken, in a few minutes.
Indeed, sir. Thank you. 66 degrees northern New Jersey, 68 degrees in Trenton. In terms of traffic, we have a lot of it today. A crash on I-80 eastbound west of exit 60. We take a look at this camera. You could see just in the upper middle. There you go. You see that? So that volume of traffic there. If you look at, you see there in the upper part, there are 3 vehicles right under the sign. That's what we're talking about. Thankfully, there's always a camera somewhere that we can catch this with. So that's a crash on I-80 eastbound west of exit 60, which is Route 20 in Patterson. The 2 left lanes of the 4 lanes are still closed just behind those trees, but you could see the accident where it's located. So those cars that you see on the leftmost part of your screen, they have passed the accident point already. So that's where the roadway opens up. But behind that, there's about a mile delay of traffic as a result. We have a crash on the Garden State Parkway southbound. We're going to take a look at this cam too. This is the Garden State Parkway southbound, south of exit 143C, which is Route 124 in Irvington. All lanes are open right now. The vehicles are off to the right shoulder, but you can see what's happening here. This is all residual rubbernecking being caused as a result of that, and that is happening again in Irvington right now. We have a crash with property damage, 195 eastbound west of exit 6, the New Jersey Turnpike in Robbinsville. The right lane and the right shoulder are both closed, and we have a fluid spill all morning. This has been the case on I-80 eastbound. This is east of Alamucci Rest Area in Alamucci Township with all lanes closed. We also have a water main break on the North Service Road southbound vicinity of Cargo Road right over the border into Rockland County. All lanes are closed with alternating traffic on the northbound side. The Hudson River crossings right now, 10 minutes at the Hanlon, 15 at the Lincoln. We take a look at the GWB approach. You can see, it's actually moving quite well. Wow, 15 minutes ago, that was bumper to bumper. We like that. So whatever was causing the delays, no more. And we're told it's 10 to 15 crossover on the GWB. 8:08 is our time. International Overdose Awareness Day is August 31st, and communities across New Jersey are uniting in a display of remembrance, hope, and action against the opioid crisis. Last year, 97 people overdosed in Monmouth County alone, and 13 more lost their lives in the first quarter of this year. Led by excuse me, as I just lost my script, excuse me, led by Prevention Coalition of Monmouth County's um, opioid task force. The goal is to expand this into every municipality, and that is so important, especially if you know anybody who has had any kind of an addiction. You know how essential it is to have an organization you could turn to. And this organization turns grief into community strength. Joining us now is Dr. Tara Chalakani, who is Chief Executive Officer of Preferred Behavioral Health. Good morning to you, Dr. Chalakani. Good to have you on.
Good morning, Ken, and thank you for addressing this very important topic.
Well, I think everybody knows somebody who has had an addiction or currently has an addiction and what it does. And then maybe fortunately, it's a smaller number of people, but you know somebody or you know someone who knows somebody who's died from an addiction. And so it's impacted everyone. And that's why we can't just close our eyes and say, not going to happen to me. Everybody's touched by this. And that's why it's so essential, I think, that we all pay attention. What is Preferred Behavioral Health's role in supporting the county's overdose awareness campaign?
So, we serve the whole state in behavioral health and substance use treatment, and we have a lot of focus programs in 15 counties across the state. But one of our biggest initiatives is our Prevention First program in Monmouth County, which houses the Prevention Coalition of Monmouth County. And it is that mighty little group that is doing tremendous work, not only in preventing overdose, but educating communities, driving beautiful campaigns like finding parents who are hosting underage drinking parties, labeling at liquor stores, not selling to minors. So we're doing a lot of work with a small budget and a small team, but the work is really impactful. And what we're seeing is numbers have steadily declined across the state of New Jersey in the last few years. Last year, we're looking at overdose deaths a little over 1,700. The year before, it was over 2,800. The year before that, it was over 3,000. So we're seeing clear proof that prevention works.
Yeah, doctor, I wanted to ask you about years ago. I'm 58, so years ago it was alcohol, alcohol,
Mhm.
alcohol, maybe a little bit of pot, right?
Mhm.
Today, the marijuana that's out there, and we have legalized marijuana, not for kids, of course, but they get their hands on it, or edibles, etc. But legalized marijuana today is exponentially more powerful. And now we're finding more and more cases talking about deep depression, psychosis, all linked to marijuana and marijuana use. Are we finding that it's making its way to kids and impacting them more, even maybe more so than alcohol was, and how it might lead to other issues?
You're absolutely right, Ken. And the legalization of marijuana has really impeded our progress. And the accessibility of marijuana and marijuana products to minors is just unfathomable. Gummies are packaged to look really fun and colorful, and parents might be using them for sleep or anxiety or stress or what have you. So we're seeing a lot more of ingestion and medical incidents because of children getting their hands on these products. But you're right, a lot of these products are more potent. You know, in the 60s, marijuana was called grass for a reason because it pretty much was. But nowadays, it's very high potency, it's often laced with other substances. And obviously, you're no stranger to the importance of being aware of what fentanyl is doing to our communities. And over 80% of overdose deaths are linked to opioids that are laced with fentanyl. So we have a huge issue here. And New Jersey is making great strides because we're committed to fighting this battle, but the United States still remains the country in the world with the most overdose rates. I mean, that's scary.
And it comes down to money. It comes down to money. You have kids think they'll get a quick high, whatever, and it's going to be nothing. It's innocuous. I'll sleep and I'll wake up and I'll be fine. No, no. The thing, and for those that don't realize, as cheap as many opioids are, fentanyl's even cheaper. And that's the thing. So it could be produced for pennies, and then they could sell it for whatever they sell it for, lacing those products. So you think, wow, this is good stuff, man. Meanwhile, you put that much, too much. Or if you, as a young person, you weigh a little less, or you had some other substance that would impact, that would cross mix, of course, with the fentanyl. And I'm no doctor, forgive me, you are. You know how to speak to this better than me. But that's all it takes. Your central nervous system shuts down, you stop breathing, and your heart stops. There you go. So because
Sure.
of one night of fun, oh yeah, man, you're dead. That's it. Unless you have somebody right away who has Narcan, you're gone. So this is why it's so terrifying, and why it's so important. And thankfully, you're getting the message out. One beautiful thing, one of many beautiful things you do, is you have the purple and white flags and what they symbolize. Talk about that, please, doctor.
So August 31st is International Overdose Awareness Day, but this is our overdose awareness month. So Prevention First, the Prevention Coalition of Monmouth County, our prevention programs at Preferred Behavioral Health Group, have placed purple flags in 52 of the 54 municipalities in Monmouth County to represent the lives lost in the first quarter of the year. So as you're driving around, pay attention. And if you see the purple flags, each one represents a life lost. And we do this because we have to put awareness on the fact that communities, families, people are being impacted by the loss of their loved ones. And we have to understand that addiction is a disease, but it is preventable. So the more we can reduce stigma, the more we can have these conversations, and parents talk to their kids and educate them in schools and know what to avoid. And I want to educate you on something, Ken. Right now, one of the biggest issues we're seeing is gas stations and little convenience stores that sell a product called Kratom, and beverages that contain kava, which I see on my social media logarithms because I like to meditate and use organic products. So there's a lot of these drinks with kava in it, and children are getting sick and getting addicted to these substances, and they're legal. They're in convenience stores. So we really need to be aware of what's out there.
And people who don't realize, and thank you for bringing that up.
Mhm.
There was a story that I just read the other day of a woman who had a $3,000 a month, I believe, addiction to kratom. I wasn't sure it was kratom or kratom, but I've seen
Kratom.
it advertised kratom. I've seen it advertised everywhere, and I think everyone thinks of it as the healthy alternative. I have a friend of mine a couple of years ago who was recovering alcoholic, who
Mhm.
said, "Oh, this kratom, this is perfect for somebody who's getting off alcohol." And right away, I thought, oh, just like people who were addicted years ago, who were, oh my God, what was the drug that everybody got? Who then they became addicted to the drug to get off of heroin.
Mhm.
I'm forgetting now, but I thought to myself, this doesn't sound, because if you have an addictive personality and if you're chemically addicted to one thing, the chances are very good that you're going to get addicted to the next thing. You just want to stop, just get off of it. It's not easy. That's why you need help to stop, but you
Yeah.
need to stop. And don't think that this is a healthier alternative. This is dangerous stuff, and you don't want to substitute one addiction for another. You had dozens of communities, as you mentioned, participating last year as well. What's the response been like this year, or outside of the county?
Well, I think overall people are becoming more aware and more willing to speak about it. I mean, I know myself, I see more on social media outlets, and people are talking about overdose awareness. I mean, we do it for so many other illnesses. We have to do it for addiction as well because people are dying and we want to prevent this from happening. So what I would urge people to do is get educated, especially parents, be aware of what's out there, drinks that kids are drinking, check their backpacks, look for vape pens. A lot of youths are vaping marijuana products. So you want to be aware and get involved before this becomes a problem that can destroy a life. And I will say that at Preferred, we have free prevention programs. So if there's someone out there who doesn't know where to turn, please come to our website, preferredbehavioral.org. I'm accessible on social media. Give me a direct message. If I can save a life, if my team can save a life, we're here to help New Jersey and abroad.
And as important as it is for adults who get chemically addicted, when somebody who is in their teens gets chemically addicted while their brain is still developing, it is that much more serious, right? I mean, you have developing brains who get hooked on marijuana, as you talk about vaping a marijuana product or on one of the drinks. It makes a difference, right, in a developing brain in their teen years as opposed to an adult.
It absolutely does. The earlier they start, the more likely they are to become addicted, and it does change your brain chemistry. You know, our brain is constantly receiving messages and responding to them. So if you're feeding it a psychotropic, mood and mind altering substance, it will change the development of a young brain. Absolutely correct.
100%. 100%. Just so important. Doctor, thank you for your message. Thank you for what you do. So important. International Overdose Awareness Day. It is August 31st. Dr. Chalakani, Chief Executive Officer of Preferred Behavioral Health. Thank you for coming on this morning and talking about this such an important topic. We appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You bet. It is 8:19 right now, 67 degrees, northern New Jersey, 71 in Trenton. Another mostly sunny day today. High about 91. It'll be a little more humid today. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with a full Garden State forecast in just a minute. Don't go away. See, I know why Pam, our director, ran the smoky rejoiner there. It's because of the little atmospheric smoke we still have out there. We'll talk to Mike about that. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. 8:20 is our time. Taking calls at 888-658-0234. Another mostly sunny day, a little more humid. Highs of 91. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike. And see, Pam's always thinking ahead. She does like 20 things at once. She's a mom too, and yet she's like, I know we need the smoky rejoiner. She's so good. Just saying.
See, Ken, thank you, Pam, for doing that. That smoke was a little bit, the smoke was pretty in comparison because it kind of looked, icky when you looked at the
Yeah.
skyline yesterday. To see that haze, to see that yellowy scene, that'll be present again once again today. Not as bad as the days past, but still present. And there could be some more wildfire smoke in our forecast in the days to come. We have cooler, pleasant weather along the beaches today and clear air, by the way, if you plan to go toward the beaches this afternoon. Matawan, New Brunswick, a little further inland, west of the Parkway and Turnpike. Yeah, it'll feel warmer with the humidity and hotter. Temperatures climb into the low 90s for you. Nice clear sky to start the day, not a cloud, but there is that considerable level of smoke in the atmosphere. Most of it high in the sky, probably lowering by the end of the day. The most concentrated smoke is where you see the wildfires up in Canada, and a lot of that could blow our direction over the coming days. So enjoy the sunshine today. This is our storms. These are our storms for tomorrow, and that will arrive with some spotty showers. Not expecting anything severe, but there will be several hours of rain tomorrow afternoon. Much needed rain, by the way, because the lawns could certainly use a soaking after how dry it's been. UV index up at an 8 today. Great day to head down the shore, but it will be humid by the end of the day with that dew point in the 70s and that dark shade of green taking over throughout tomorrow afternoon. So much more of a muggy feel tomorrow, especially after that rain comes in by 5, 6 o'clock. We're feeling tropical across most of the state. And then come Thursday, it'll dry out by the end of the day. Drier weather moves in. That's that light shade of yellow, and it goes down toward the coast by Friday. So a comfortable feel, almost autumnal, come Friday. but it just lasts a day because we're back to the humid weather by Saturday and Sunday. So, with a very pleasant weekend ahead, Saturday and Sunday looking spectacular. I think by Monday, could have some more clouds return, and that'll give us some rain by Tuesday. And then we're dry going into the end of next week with another beautiful week ahead. So, this weekend forecast looking very pleasant, dry to start, more humid to finish. Temperatures begin in the 80s and go to 94 by the end of the weekend, with more humidity building by the end of the week, but sunny again. It's been a pretty stellar summer with plenty of dry weekends, and I think we squeeze out another one, Ken, just in time, as we're about 2 weeks away now from Labor Day weekend, so it is racing toward a close.
You're gonna make me cry. I get seasonal depression. I thought it was just like a joke until I really do. I love the
Yeah.
warm weather and the sunshine and the long days so much that when the fall comes, and I have so many friends who are like, "Oh, it's my favorite time of the year." I'm like, "Good, enjoy it." I like fall the first 2 weeks, and then when I get that first really chilly morning, I go,
Mm.
"Okay, and then I realized that
Um,
now I have to wear a coat for the next 5 months. Just saying. Yeah,
well, I
Pam,
mean,
our director,
there's
said,
the
"Bring it on."
I know that there are some benefits of climate change, right? We get some longer summer seasons into the fall, so I don't think we're getting cold just yet.
And remember, just for what it's worth, the population of the Earth exploded under climate change because you had more growing season for a lot of course, we don't want it to grow to the point that it's ridiculous and we're burning up. And we have worldwide drought as a result, which could continue if we continue in that direction. So I'm not hoping for that. But at the same time, we're up to 7 billion people because we can produce food for 7 billion people
Mm.
now. So there is the positive way for those of you. If you're like me, you try to have the positive side of that. But I understand that there are definite detriments to it as well. I get it. All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you as always. It is 71 degrees in northern New Jersey. I'm sorry, 71 in Trenton. It is 68 in northern New Jersey. And 8:25 is our time. We take a look at the traffic now with a disabled vehicle on 295 southbound south of exit 68, which is Princeton Pike in Lawrence Township with the right lane closed. We have a crash on Route 24 eastbound west of exit 2, Columbia Turnpike in Hanover Township. The right lane of the two lanes there closed, and a crash on the Garden State Parkway. Oh, you do have it. Great. We'll take it right now if you got it, Pam. The Garden State. Yep, there we go. Garden State Parkway is closed southbound, south of exit 143C, Route 124 Irvington. All lanes are now open. The vehicle's on the right shoulder, but you can see the rubbernecking that it's causing for about a mile back, and that's what you see on your screen. We have a crash with property damage, 195 eastbound west of exit 6, the Jersey Turnpike in Robbinsville. The right lane and the right shoulder are closed. And we have a fluid spill, I-80 eastbound east of Alamucci Rest Area in Alamucci Township. All lanes closed there. We take a look at the approaches to the Hudson River. The approaches to the Hanlon Tunnel, still only 10 to 15 minutes across, 10 to 15 at the Lincoln, and our GWB approach right now, wide open. Look at that. It's only 10 to 15 at the GWB as well. We like it that way. 8:26, and a 43-year-old Trenton man, Bruce Hall, was fatally shot Monday night while sitting in a parked pickup truck in Willingboro's Pennypacker Park. Police responded to reports of a shooting around 9 p.m. on Paddock Lane and Poppy Turn, where Hall was pronounced dead at the scene. No arrests have been made. The Burlington County Prosecutor's Office and Willingboro Police are investigating with an autopsy pending, and anyone with information is asked to contact Willingboro Police. 8:27, a Camden neighborhood is mourning beloved mechanic Kenneth Blaine Smith, killed in a hit and run last Thursday while riding his motorcycle. Authorities say a stolen Chevy Blazer struck him about 6:45 at night, throwing him into the air. The driver fled. The vehicle was found crashed and unoccupied on Master Street. No arrests yet, and friends call Smith a generous and kind man who fixed cars for free, urging anyone with tips to please come forward. A 33-year-old East Orange man, Kendall Howard, has been sentenced to 20 years in prison for attempting to murder two Newark police officers in 2022. Howard pleaded guilty after shooting officers Johnny Aquino and Jabril Paul during a confrontation, wounding both before fleeing. He was arrested the next day. Prosecutors call it a deterrent against violence on law enforcement. A brave bystander helped shield and aid the officers, and that bystander earned a reward, maybe saved their lives. The family of a New Jersey teen killed in a multi-car crash is speaking out after two suspects were arrested at Miami International Airport. 20-year-old Alvi Lamani faces manslaughter charges for allegedly racing a BMW on the Garden State Parkway in June. That caused a rollover that ejected and killed 19-year-old Albion Hissanaj. Lamani's mother, Vilma Veneshta, is charged with hindering arrest. Both were extradited to New Jersey. Hissanaj's uncle calls it bittersweet, demanding justice. Former Manville Police Chief Thomas Herbst has been sentenced to 7 years in prison for sexual assault and official misconduct. The 57-year-old was convicted of groping, exposing himself, and harassing police department employees over 13 years. We talked about this back in January. One of the allegations was a violent sexual assault. Herbst also solicited sexual favors and explicit photos from subordinates' wives for job benefits. He must serve 6 years before parole eligibility and register as a sex offender. Attorney General Matt Platkin says the sentence delivers justice to victims and reinforces efforts to combat sexual offenses. Beloved South Jersey clown Gloria Jingles Laughlin lost her Mays Landing home in a devastating fire on Monday, leaving her with nothing. The local icon, known for delighting kids at parties and Young's skating rink, was unharmed but needs help to rebuild. The GoFundMe aims at getting $8,000 to help her out. So far, about $3,000 has been raised. 8:29, a federal judge yesterday denied the Department of Justice's request to unseal grand jury materials in Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal case. In his 31-page ruling, U.S. District Judge Paul Engelmeyer, a Barack Obama appointee, says the grand jury materials do not identify anybody other than Epstein or Maxwell as having had sexual contact with a minor. So that's why he wants to keep things sealed. The DOJ request came as supporters of President Trump have pushed for more disclosures related to Maxwell and her co-conspirator Jeffrey Epstein, the deceased financier and accused sex trafficker. Trump directed Attorney General Pam Bondi last month to release, quote, any and all pertinent grand jury testimony in the Epstein case. It is 8:30. When we come back, a Bergen County grandmother shares advice about grandparenting an autistic grandchild while supporting adult children. Also, the phone lines are open. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. We're back in 30.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Very good morning to you. It is Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. We have 67 degrees in northern New Jersey, 72 in Trenton at 8:31. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Another mostly sunny day, albeit a little more humid. Highs about 91. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Plenty of sun this morning in northern New Jersey, but filtered sun right now across the southern part of the state. You can see that on the satellite picture with some of these clouds showing up here, thin at first right now through Atlantic, Burlington County, Cape May County, and points west. So that I think will ultimately move its way up toward Middlesex and Monmouth County through the course of the morning, but northern New Jersey staying sunny today. So with a little bit of a foggy scene and filtered sun, that'll keep your temperature slightly cooler by a few degrees at the beaches, but you get a lovely round of clear sky this afternoon. And with that improvement in the air quality across southern New Jersey, northern New Jersey still have the moderate level of air quality thanks to the residual wildfire smoke. Sunset now before 8 p.m. So daylight hours starting to get shorter. And as we work through the afternoon, again, beautiful beach day with water temperatures in the mid 70s. I think you'll have to wait until Friday for another clear beach day because we have rain tomorrow afternoon as well as Thursday afternoon. So the UV index is at an 8, which is very high today, and even a low risk of rip currents at the beaches, which is nice. The futurecast showing those clouds around today, mostly in southern New Jersey, but we stay sunny up in the northern part of the state. Temperatures climb to the low 90s. We're dry once more for tomorrow morning, but very humid to start. And then by the afternoon, You see those showers and storms develop, work their way across the state, and give us a few hours of wet weather, not just on Wednesday, but also again Thursday afternoon, ultimately clearing up by the end of the day on Thursday evening. So it'll take some time for this front off to the west to push on through. When it does, it finally clears the way for a gorgeous Friday and a really pretty weekend, especially if you find yourself traveling around the state for Friday or Saturday. Amazing weather. It just warms up a little bit and turns more humid by Sunday. So keep that in mind. By the end of the weekend, there is some milder weather that comes back in with 90s and higher humidity to wrap up the weekend, but it stays dry right through Monday. Even the shore points looking beautiful, a little bit more humid at night, keeping temperatures in the upper 70s, and then Friday and Saturday back to the sun, staying clear this upcoming weekend. A beautiful weekend to enjoy. Lots of clear sky, lots of sunny weather. Just another winter, Ken, going down in the books as we wrap up
This
a pretty awesome summer 2025.
this has got to be, and I know we always say it sounds hyperbolic, but this has to be one of the, in terms of weekends, one of the best
Hmm.
summers we have ever had
Yeah,
in history for New Jersey. It's phenomenal. And I hope to God the Jersey Shore towns made $1 trillion. They deserve it because they had some bad summers. So
sure.
and I mean that because the Jersey Shore is like so much for all of us. So thank you so much, Mike. And it's just phenomenal weather. Mike is, I see, I put in a request in January. I said, Mike, can you make sure we have a flawless summer? Thank you for talking to
Oh, my
Mother Nature
pleasure.
and taking care of it. You're really good at that. All right,
Takes
Mike.
time.
Thank you, sir. 65 degrees right now, 72 in Trenton, 65 in northern New Jersey. And in terms of traffic, we have an issue on 195. It's eastbound west of exit 6, the New Jersey Turnpike in Robbinsville. Take a look at this. This goes back 2.5 miles. You could see the emergency vehicle there on the right, and then it goes on up ahead there on the upper right of the screen. This is a 2 mile delay, an absolute nightmare. And again, this is as you get into Robbinsville. There's a crash with property damage, 195 eastbound west of exit 6, and you have the right lane and the right shoulder closed just beyond that scene. That's why you have the vehicle closing it off. You see that on the right. So just avoid that if you can. We have a disabled vehicle on 295 southbound south of exit 68, Princeton Pike in Lawrence Township with the right lane closed. And we have on Route 24 a crash eastbound west of exit 2, which is Columbia Turnpike in Hanover Township. The right lane is closed. We have a fluid spill I-80 eastbound east of Alamucci Rest Area in Alamucci Township with all lanes closed there. As we take a look at the Hudson River approaches right now, the Lincoln and Hanlon are both still 10 minutes, and the GWB approach 8095 you could see upper on the right, lower on the left, both moving very well right now. Only about a 10-minute crossover time. 8:35 is our time. Jennifer Kaufman, or Kaufman, forgive me, Jennifer, if I'm mispronouncing, and you will tell me so, is a Bergen County grandmother, a special education professional, author of Grandparenting on the Spectrum, a journey from both sides of the desk. With more than 20 years in the field, Jennifer thought that she fully understood autism until she experienced it in her own family. Well, now she's sharing practical advice to help grandparents build strong connections with their autistic grandchildren while supporting their adult children. Good morning to you, Jennifer. Please tell me the correct pronunciation so I have it correct.
It is actually Kaufman, like sauerkraut.
Kaufman. There, and two of my friends that I've known since childhood are Kaufman as well. So now that'll be in my brain. I appreciate that. Well,
Thank
first
you.
off, what made you? It's good to have you on. And what made you write Grandparenting on the Spectrum to begin with?
Well, as you mentioned, I was a school administrator for a very long time, working with kids on the spectrum, and I thought I knew what it was all about, and I tried to support my families the best as I could. But it all sort of changed once I became a grandmother myself, and my grandson Ben was diagnosed with autism.
And the whole goal with autism and treatment, right, is you diagnose it as early as possible. The sooner and the earlier you educate somebody who has autism, the better the outcome, right? Because I have relatives and friends who have autism, and I know that in every case, when they got treated, or treated, when I say treated, when they get special education early on, you live a very, very good life, correct?
Those early supports make all the difference. And once it's identified, probably, around age 3 or so, ideally, um, that speech and OT, PT, other supports can be put into place, and you can really support the child in the way they need supporting.
100%. I remember when I worked in on Long Island in television, probably 30 years ago. I remember interviewing for on this topic, and it was still much more in its infancy than it is today, obviously. But I spoke to a person who was the director, I want to say the director of recreation for the town of Babylon, Long Island, who's on the spectrum. And he said that his mother was a nurse and noticed the difference in him when he was maybe 2 years old and went all over the place. Nobody knew what it was. And but he got the special education. He heads a department. He's living a great life. But that's the key. So it is so important. And today, thankfully, people like you and others are keeping the education out there so people know what to look for. So, how did your feelings change? Now you have your grandson. You're all excited, and all of a sudden, what? What told you? Oh, our grandson might be on the spectrum.
So, we come into becoming grandparents with all sorts of expectations for ourselves. We're going to make cookies. We're going to go on trips. We're going to do all sorts of things with our grandchild. And then you get this diagnosis, and me as a professional, though I realized some of the symptoms, some of the different markers of possibly having autism, I was still going, well, maybe he's got a hearing problem. Well,
Hmm.
maybe there's this issue or that issue. Because as a grandma, you're trying to figure out what the issue is. And once we got that diagnosis of autism, it did change everything, because then I started to look at all of my professional knowledge and what I had learned and the people that I was surrounded with that were just top notch in their field, saying, well, how can I use all of this knowledge now to help my grandson? And that it didn't quite work out that way, because grandparents like to think of themselves as experts on raising kids because we've raised our kids to adulthood. But when it comes down to autism, the person that's the expert on your grandchild is their parents,
Mm.
and learning to step back. And that's what my book is about, stepping back and letting the parents be the experts, and letting them lead the way and letting the child lead the way. And you're sort of there to support, not to lead,
That
which
must
is
be
a
so
slightly
hard.
different. It is. It's very hard, and I sort of learned some of it with trial and error, because I wanted to say, hey, let's do this, or you need to do that. Lots of advice to give, especially as a professional in the field. But in the reality of the situation is, parents, in most situations, are the experts on their children. But in this situation where autism is a component, the parents are truly the experts on their child and what their child needs.
Yeah, I mean, because I get what you're saying because you feel been there, done that. I have the experience already, and I don't want you to make the same mistakes I may have made. But sometimes mistakes are good. Like we're so worried, oh, my kid ate dirt. All right, well, as it turns out, we now find out when we keep our kids too pristine that they get more infections later. So it's like sometimes we are so we want to be so protective, and then we realize let the parent, just like I got to parent my child, let the parent, and if there are going to be mistakes made, that's the parent needs to go through it with the child. But I get it, that, and I'm feeling it as you talk about it too. You explain it so well. So now the best support for both the grandchild and the adult child at the same time, step back. Do you put yourself in a circumstance maybe to allow them to, or put them in a circumstance where they could ask questions and then you could give advice as opposed to just volunteering advice?
Absolutely. Look, parents of autistic children end up getting advice from the grocery store cashier, from the person walking by them on the street, from their friends, from everybody. They're constantly bombarded with advice. This is what you should do. This is what you should do. Um, but in reality, I'm surrounded by professionals, professional writing, professional people, and I hear all sorts of things, all sorts of supports that are available to people with autism. And rather than say to my daughter and her husband, you need to do this, you need to do that, sometimes I'll just send an email and say, hey, take what you like and leave the rest. And I don't ever want to feel like I'm pushing and insisting that something get done. I don't mind offering advice. In fact, here's a good example. Right now I'm on vacation. with I'm talking to you from Orlando in the House of the Mouse. And I'm here. I look at myself as here for respite care. I'm here to provide support. I'm not here to have my own vacation, though I'm having a wonderful time. I am here to provide support and a little relief. If my daughter and her husband want to go out to dinner, here I am. And I think as a grandparent, offering those opportunities for some respite care and some opportunities to just enjoy, the husband and wife can enjoy themselves while you're taking care of the grandchild. And I love taking care of my Ben.
I get it. I get it. And by the way, I worked for Disney when I was at Channel 7 in New York. That's ABC is owned by Disney. I worked for the Mouse for 20 wonderful years, by the way. So I spent many,
Oh,
many
that's
a time right there where you are right now. And in fact, my mother-in-law who she's recuperating right now from some medical issues and she's doing okay, but her birthday, it's one of the big birthdays, is coming up in a couple of months. And we asked, what would you like for your special birthday? And we have on my husband's side, 3 little grandkids. She said, they live in Florida. We want to go up to Disney. So I said, great. So that's where they're going to go. But she said exactly the same thing, even though it's very selfless. Grandparents are so selfless. She says, in spite of the fact that she's recuperating, in spite of the fact that she's not going to be able to go on any rides herself, she wants to do exactly what you said. She wants to help out, watch the kids, and the kids love Gra and Pa. That's what they're known as, Gra and Pa. And so they're all going as a big family, my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, father-in-law, and the 3 kids. And that's just such a good way to do it. When you have somebody who is autistic, though, and being the reason it's called a spectrum is the treatment of somebody who's autistic is different, right? Depending on where they are on the spectrum. So how difficult is it if somebody asks for advice, knowing that, well, you know what might work for this person who has autism may not work for that?
Yeah, and that is the situation, right? Because there's a saying that if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. Because though there are similarities in how it looks, each individual is very specific. And for example, we were here yesterday, and my grandson was not thrilled because we were spending the day at the pool. We weren't going to the parks, and like any 7-year-old might be. And what he wanted to do was stay in the room in the air conditioning and just sort of hang out, and that was fine. We let him lead yesterday, and it made for a happier day all around.
So smart, so smart. And as a friend of mine put it, who is on the spectrum himself, he said, we're just wired differently and our brains just function differently. And by the way, that person who I'm talking about has a CPA, a CFP, and is a lawyer. That's, but yet is a lot like Elon Musk in terms of emotion. Like there's no emotion on his face. That's the way he was wired. And so everybody, I think it's hard for people to understand that everyone is different who has autism, and it's just about the wiring of the brain being a little bit different. That's why you have to educate them the way their brain is wired from a young age so that they can get the best education based on the way they were wired. It doesn't mean that there's damage. It's different. That's all it is. I love that you do what you do. What's your website so people can find out more about you and the book?
Sure. My website is grandparentingonthespectrum.com. And that is also
That's
the name of
awesome.
my book.
I love it. I love it. Listen, have a great time in Orlando. I hope you get out with your grandson and enjoy the rides and the food and just enjoy it. And please come back again. And we love to hear from you again. Really, please.
Thank you so
Bergen
much,
County,
Ken. I appreciate
you're
it.
wonderful. And for taking time on your vacation too. We appreciate you. Bergen County grandmother, special education professional, author of Grandparenting on the Spectrum, a journey from both sides of the desk, Jennifer Kaufman. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Yes. Thank you.
You bet. It is now 69 degrees at 8:47. Another mostly sunny day today. Highs of 91, a little more humid. We'll be back in just a moment. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. And welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. It is 8:48, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Another mostly sunny day today, high of 91. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. We've got a beautiful day ahead, feeling like summer here in New Jersey with highs climbing into the low 90s in the northeastern corner, maybe just up to about 89 there in Sussex County. But overall, it'll feel quite warm. More humidity builds throughout the day, and with it, air quality okay at the moment, but goes down, dropping to a level that approaches the unhealthy level by the end of the day. There is some dry weather around New Jersey, especially here where you see the shade of orange. A lot of this due to the pretty dry weather we've had overall, with the exception of some downpours here and there. Most of these areas seeing a 1 to 2 up to 4 inch rainfall deficit just in the last 30 days alone. We could use some wet weather, but not a lot of tropical weather. Speaking of, down in the tropics, there is our next named storm, Erin, which will be hanging out in the Atlantic Basin for the next week or so. But notably, it does turn into a major hurricane going just north of the islands and there toward Puerto Rico by Sunday. So it's one to watch to see where it'll go beyond that as it develops over the next week or so. Most of the hottest weather is out west. Our weather here in New Jersey looking okay, even for the next few days. Average heat and average rainfall, even through the end of the month. So not forecasting any big, long duration heat waves, but we're kind of teetering on that with 90 plus degrees for the next several days, slightly drier and a little bit cooler for Friday and Saturday, and then back up into the mid 90s by Sunday come the weekend. Shore points down the shore looking fine, with overall a little bit of wet weather tomorrow afternoon and Thursday afternoon, and then back to the dry weather again Friday into the weekend and extending that into Monday. So Ken, like you were mentioning, some people extending their weekends into Monday. You've got great weather to do so again this upcoming weekend with like 4 days in a row of gorgeous sunshine here across New Jersey.
We love that. We love gorgeous sunshine 4 days in a row. You're good at that, Mike. My goodness. We'll all be condemning you when you say 4 days of wet, snowy nastiness in a couple of months. But for now, we will praise you and give you gold stars because it's always the meteorologist's fault. You know that.
Oh, of course, yes, always.
All right, Mike, enjoy your day, sir. We love you
You
as
too.
always, and we'll see you in the morning, pal. It is
See you tomorrow.
67 degrees. Thank you. 67 in northern New Jersey, and it is 72 degrees in Trenton. In terms of traffic, we have this ongoing issue, a crash with property damage, 195 eastbound west of exit 6, the New Jersey Turnpike in Robbinsville. Look at this mess. You can see the emergency vehicles there on the right side. So they have closed a couple of lanes there, the right lane and the right shoulder both closed, everybody trying to squeeze off to the left. This is causing now 3 miles of backups. Again, a crash with property damage, 195 eastbound west of exit 6, New Jersey Turnpike exit in Robbinsville. So this is on not the turnpike but on 195 by the turnpike exit in Robbinsville. We have a disabled tractor trailer now in the GWB upper level eastbound, so we'll see that in just a moment. In fact, why don't we just go to it if you have the GWB camera, Pam? So I don't know if it's causing buildups to the camera point, which is about a mile before. All right, so there's nothing yet. If we were to stay on till 9:10 live, we go to tape at 9 o'clock. But if we were to stay on till 9:10 live, I guarantee those, see with the red vehicles and the white truck, that is going to be bumper to bumper. But that's because it's the upper level, which is the right. That's where the delays are. So take the lower level if you can into Manhattan on the GWB. Lincoln and Hanlon are both very good, moving very well. And Pam, remember I told you the clock is about to fall? You're going to hear a clunk any second. It's dangling again. Oh, it's dangling. It's dangling. It's going to fall. You'll hear the clunk. Here it goes. All right. And yes, not only that, Pam, but let me let you know that out now I am riding blind because it turned off my monitors. So Pam, you're gonna have to guide me to the close. You're gonna have to guide in the plane to the landing, okay? All right. Yes, thank you. Pam, our director, will take care of it for us. A House panel has demanded that a slate of Washington, D.C. officials, including Mayor Muriel Bowser, testify on crime in the district just hours after President Trump announced federal intervention in D.C. The House Oversight Committee announced yesterday that it would call in Bowser, D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwalb, and D.C. Council Chair Phil Mendelson, all liberal Democrats, to testify before the panel. News of the hearing comes after Trump announced that he would place the Washington, D.C. Police Department under federal control and deploy the National Guard in the district. This occurred after several high-profile attacks on federal staffers, including a recent murder. Let's listen to President Trump.
And we're here for a very serious purpose, Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back.
Well, the left throughout the nation is now screaming that crime is down in D.C. But listen, when you break it all down, crime is not down. Let me show you how liberals play with statistics. First and foremost, there was a council person in D.C. who has now been removed from the council and is being investigated for doing what I'm about to tell you. And also the police chief of Washington, D.C., the local police chief. They both are accused and under investigation of cooking the books in terms of crime statistics as of May. So here it is, August. So as of May, they are both under investigation for cooking the books on crime numbers. So when they say crime is down, this is what they allegedly did. Because Trump had threatened that if you don't get things under control in D.C., I'm going to take over, which he has a constitutional right to do. What they did was they tried cooking the books. So this could actually become a criminal investigation. You can't officially report numbers that you have fraudulently produced in order to have the outcome that you want. That's not legal. So now these two people, the police chief of Washington and a city council member, are under investigation for that. So we'll see where that leads. But the other thing to think of, the Democrats are saying in 2024, that the number of murders is down in Washington, D.C. from 2023. Well, think about what was 2023, the pandemic. Think about what was 2024, post-pandemic. Every big urban central city in America had higher major crimes like murder, rape, suicide, gun attacks, etc. during the pandemic. When we were all cooped up with each other, we got on each other's nerves. Post-pandemic, it dropped. But you can't compare apples to oranges. You can't say during the pandemic, the number was this. And look, in 1 year, the number dropped. What you have to do is look at Washington, D.C. before the pandemic. So the first or the last full year before the pandemic was 2019, because the pandemic started in January of 2020. Okay. So for the full year of 2019 and the full year of 2024, that's apples to apples. During that time, in 2019, Washington, D.C. had 705,000 residents, and yet they had 119 murders. 2024, they had 702,000 residents, so the people moved out. They lost 3,000 residents, but the murder rate went up. So we went from 119 to 197 murders in that time. So the murder rate in DC, when you compare apples to apples, actually shot up by about 20%. But they are trying to compare the pandemic versus the post-pandemic. When we had a high during the pandemic, they're trying to say the murder rate is down. So we don't need this. Now, let's just say that we ignore all the statistics I just gave you, which indict them, because the murder rate is sky high when you compare apples to apples. And that is because of criminality among gangs, youth gangs, etc. Many of the crimes, the gun crimes, the robberies, the carjackings, are done by underage kids. Why? I'll tell you why. Because the local DA is a communist who refuses to prosecute crimes. In fact, the local DA, his name is Schwalb, S-C-H-W-A-L-B, he campaigned like Alvin Bragg did in New York, saying that he wasn't going to prosecute crimes because he blamed everything on racism and said people shouldn't be prosecuted. Meanwhile, they're committing crimes against their own. You have 63% of Washington, D.C. Black or Hispanic, and the criminals are the young gangsters committing crimes against their own community. So when you bring in the National Guard like President Trump wants to do, it is to help people in the Black and Hispanic community. And when you talk to the mothers, the grandmothers, the ministers, they're very happy about this. It is the elected officials who are not happy because it takes away a little power from them. But wait till you see how Washington, D.C. will turn around under Trump's control. By the way, the members of the media, who are mostly lily white, and many of them the victims of crime in D.C. or friends of victims of crime, they didn't seem to object too much. But when you read some of their liberal writings, it's amazing that they seem to be pro crime. Listen, all the president is doing is what he has the purview to do. He is not breaking any laws. He has the legal right under the Constitution because DC, it was ceded as federal territory under the control of the president and Congress, and they were given control locally, but the control ultimately rests with the president. Watch what happens. It's going to be sunny today, highs of about 91, increased humidity though. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 7. Thanks for watching on New Jersey Mornings.